Ready? Okay, so hi guys, introduce yourself and your film.
Ooh, do we hold this?
You can hold it, yeah.
Thank you. I'm Lindsay Doal. This is Midnight Whispers.
My name is Baldwin Lee. My film is Midnight Whispers. Our film is Midnight Whispers. Yeah.
Why don't you tell me about your journey into filmmaking?
Oh, well, mine'll take ages. Anyway, no, I really wanted to be a musician, to be honest. That was probably my first love, but then, came out of uni and suddenly you've got to make a living. But film was something I've done sort of amateur. I was thinking about either trying to get a job in film or trying to go to film school, but I managed to get a job at Granada Studios down the road, because I'm quite old, you see. That was still going then. And then got my foot in the door as a sound technician, really got as a trainee, and then learned a load of different things and ended up doing some camera operating and tech hopping in the news and other terrible TV channels, like Channel 758 Granada Play or something like that, really bad stuff, but gave me a good grounding. And then I left, set up my own company and started making films. And that was kind of my film school. I didn't go to film school, so yeah, and I've been making them ever since. And
So what was the inspiration behind Midnight Whispers?
it was you.
We shot it in my council estate, and it was somewhere I always thought was very romantic. Obviously, it's like alleys, but it's like alluring, and there's something about the architecture that's quite fun and illicit as well. It's about a poetry dealer, and I didn't want to glorify people lurking around dealing things, but I thought poetry doesn't have the same connotation. But we got to that because I wrote a poem to my mother on Mother's Day, and she grew up during the Cultural Revolution. And I'm not saying, this is very broad and doesn't apply to everyone, but she thought I got the poem off the internet. And she said something along the lines of only poets write poems. And it was very interesting that she'd come from this time where people had such rigid roles or whatever. So we just discussed how it's interesting how you can get in a mind frame or society can get in a space where things or ways of thinking could be censored or restricted, and what if there would be a world where poetry was something that was only oral, you couldn't read it in print, and it was also illegal.
Yeah, I thought that was really the way that you kind of, the drugs reversed roles was so interesting. How you made it like a bad thing, but people still craved it. Is that something that words to you are that kind of important?
I think it's interesting that poems are. It could get you high, I guess, in that way, where people are lonely and they feel like they need a drug or something to feel connection to humanity or their emotions or whatever, and poems can serve the same. I'm not a crazy, I don't read poems at night oh my God, but it was an interesting concept.
So there's only a couple of verses actually in the film. How did you choose that from the plethora of poetry and poems that you could have used?
I think the night one was obviously something that mirrored the visual, the feeling I get when I walk through my estate at night. It's very peaceful, it's very tranquil, and I like the line that was about what is that line? Where she's I'm one with the night, that kind of this character. But also at the end, I guess, just things you can reference points, like Shakespeare. That's famous. We did argue why is she mentioning famous lines once she's had her epiphany? But it is because then the audience knows it and they know that she's.
She's recounting, she's recounting famous poetry because that's what she's getting paid for ultimately, to come up with this famous verse which she hasn't written for herself, but she's just received. It's almost like the received wisdom of these poems, which she thinks is the only way that she can pass stuff on. But as hopefully you'll see in the film, that transpires that she may be able to craft some of her own.
How did you find your way into that character? How did you find your way into the role that you played?
She used to be a dealer on an estate. Yeah.
I think I grew up in the Royal Borough of Kingston upon Thames, which is really funny because it's just a mix. I don't know if you have this in Manchester because I can't tell your accents apart, but there's such a clear you can be road if you go up on a street or just road, and I remember if you're walking to school you might talk to your mates like that, and then at school I remember nobody spoke like this, but I didn't want to I wasn't middle class, and I spoke. I think Keira Knightley was cool at the time, so I really tried to put on her accent, but there was a middle class accent and a working class accent, and I would switch a lot between the two. So I just kind of her character is interesting because she's kind of rough around the edges, and I want that charm that she wants to flirt with the timid boy, but she's way too
It becomes a barrier, doesn't it? It becomes a barrier in some ways. Sometimes it's a little bit of a mask, and that's what we wanted to sort of explore really, and to unmask her ultimately, unmask the character. I think once Lindsay came to me with just one scene really, which was an interchange between her and one of the customers, which I really liked the atmosphere, the setting, and the premise. And so we developed it into a longer sort of sequence, and thought, well, I think like all good stories, nearly every story has some kind of love interest. Sometimes it's platonic, sometimes it's sexual, sometimes it's violent, sometimes whatever. And this, we thought, let's just see if we can explore something a bit longer than just sort of one scene of someone suspecting someone, that kind of thing. So for me as a filmmaker, I really like let's call it conventional storytelling that feels satisfying to me. Everyone's got different tastes, and so we ended up fashioning this out of this one little small idea, and hopefully it works for people.
I think her roughness is comic compared to the person she's trying to charm, and that clash is great.
Have you got working together again? Any more projects on the horizon?
Well, we do have another short that we'd like to film, but it needs loads of money, unfortunately. Yeah, but it's a one we've co-written together again that we really I'm really proud of it. You're proud of it? Yeah.
I really it's nice to I want to make a film in a Chinatown. I'm from London, but that seems impossible. So any Chinatown would be great.
So there's a film we co-wrote that's set in Chinatown. Could be Manchester, could be London, could be Liverpool if they've got loads of money for us. But it's about a young girl, something like her again, who's taking her boyfriend to meet.
I just forgot it's real.
You forgot, yeah, it's sort of real. But so to meet her parents for the first time, the boyfriend's parents is going to meet her parents, and it's Chinese New Year, and her mum is making her go to the grocery shop to buy all the ingredients for the big dinner. Very specific. Chinese, very specific about the ingredients, as we just saw. And she says, "Get me a Chinese calendar." The Chinese calendars are things you don't buy. You get them free when you buy stuff at a supermarket or a restaurant. But they've run out.
It's so important. Every Chinese auntie needs their Chinese calendar. I don't know why, but they just have to have it.
So it's a bit of a wild goose chase for this calendar. Yeah. So anyone wants to sponsor us to make it, here we are. Yeah. Contact us. You'll find us. I'm the only Baldwin Lee, I think, making films. So yeah, that's LI. Yeah. You must be the only Lindsay Doel.
Yeah.
Easy to find us.
Okay, I think that's everything, unless you want to add anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
you're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming to the festival.